Today I'm going to be reviewing some more custom Plants vs. Zombies plushes. And while all the Plants vs. Zombies plushes in this video were made by the YouTuber CJ Gaming, so make sure to go subscribe to him, and I've linked his channel in the description. Now starting off with the first plush, we have the lily pad, and while the actual shape of the lily pad and everything looks pretty good. And while the eyes on this plush also seem to be pretty nicely made, and while in the video he said he'll be remaking this plush as well, the back of it has a giant hole in it. But besides that, I think that the only things that you could really improve on this plush is that you can make it slightly bigger, as the lily pad is supposed to be a big plush, so you could actually fit other plants on top of him. You could also make the lily pad a slightly lighter color, and also make the cut in the back of the lily pad a little bigger, as it was supposed to be a little bigger in the game. So yeah, it's definitely not the best lily pad plush I've seen, but I think that the updated one will probably be a lot better. Now next up we have the Citron. Well, the actual face on the Citron looks pretty good. As well, the eyes, eyebrows, and the shoe part of the plush overall looks pretty good, as well I like how he made it and everything, and it looks nice, and the only really thing that I don't like about this plush is the shape of it. As well, the shape of it is, for whatever reason, this really strange cylinder shape when it's actually supposed to be a more round shape, but besides that, I think that it looks pretty good. The leaf base on it overall looks pretty nice, and the only really downside to it is the shape of it, but it still looks overall pretty good. Now next up we actually have a pretty unique plush, as well as actually a plush made from a character that he actually custom made himself. Being the blueberry pole, as well I actually think is really unique to make your own plant and then make a plush of it. And while I can sort of tell that the base design for it was the electric blueberry, as well the top of the plush seems to be very similar to the electric blueberry, and same thing with the leaf base. But yeah, the eyes on it look pretty good, and the entire plush seems to be nicely shaped, as well I like the shape of it, and I think it looks pretty good. So yeah, overall, it's definitely a really unique plush, as well it's literally of a character that he custom made himself, which is a really unique idea, and while I think that the actual plush is really nicely made. Now next up we have the Scaredy shroom, and once again, I think it's a pretty good plush. As well, the only thing I don't really like about the face is that it's missing the eye shines in them, which is the little white part of the plush, but besides that, I think that the rest of it looks nice. As well, the actual shoe part of the plush looks pretty good, the rest of it seems to be nicely stuffed, and the only other part of the plush I don't like is the cap of it. As well, the cap of the plush is supposed to be a little wider, but besides that, I think everything else on the Scaredy shroom plush looks pretty good. So yeah, honestly, the only improvements I would really recommend for this plush is add eye shines to it and also make the cap a little wider. Now next up we have the ice shroom, and well, I actually really like the face on this one. As well, even though it's pretty simplistic, I still like how he made the mouth and everything, and the ice spikes on the top of the head also look pretty good. As well, I like how he made the spikes on the top of the head and everything, and I think that the actual plush is pretty nicely shaped and is well stuffed. The only really bad part of the plush in my opinion is the bottom of it, where for whatever reason, the dark blue part of the plush could for whatever reason come off, but besides that, I think that the rest of the plush overall looks pretty good, and I think he did a good job with it. Now next up we have the sea shroom, and well, I actually really like this plush. As well, he did a good job with the face and everything. Once again, the only thing that's really missing on the face are the eye shines, but besides that, I think that everything else on the face, like the shape of it, is really good. And while the cap on this plush also looks pretty nice, as well, he added some dots on the top of the head and just glued them on, which looks pretty good, and the cap also seems to be pretty nicely stuffed. And while I also really like the strands of plush material coming off the bottom of the plush, as well, it really represents how it looks in the game pretty well, and while it overall looks pretty good in my opinion, this entire plush overall just looks nice. So yeah, in my opinion, I think this is a pretty good sea shroom plush as well, but basically has all the details on it that are necessary. Then next up we have the Doom shroom, and well, very similar to the Citron plush, the shape of it is the cylinder. And well, in my opinion, that's really one of the only bad parts about this plush, is well, the top of the plush is supposed to be a little wider. As well, the head was just a little wider. I think that would overall just look a lot better, and the eyes on this plush also look pretty good, but it's missing the mouth. So if you just made the head a little wider and also added a mouth onto it, it would overall be a pretty good looking plush. And well, another smaller detail that he's missing is the gray felt material instead of just a white one, but I still think it looks pretty good even with the white felt material. So yeah, overall, out of all these custom plushes, this is probably one of the more inaccurate ones just because of the shape of it. Now next up we have the umbrella leaf, and while I think this is overall a pretty nice looking plush. As well, the shape of it is pretty good. I do like the eyes on this plush, as well, they seem to be nicely made, and they also added eye shines in it, which looks pretty good. And while unlike most umbrella leaf plushes, which most of them are white for whatever reason, this one's actually the correct green color, which makes it look better than most. And while the leaves on the top of the head also seem to be nicely shaped, and they're overall just a pretty good looking part of the plush. So yeah, overall, this is a really nice looking umbrella leaf plush. All the details on it are accurate, and it also seems to be well stuffed with the correct shape on it. And when compared to some other umbrella leaf custom plushes I've seen, this one's definitely really good. Now next up we have the Cob Can. Well, I actually think that this one's a pretty creative plush. As if you notice on the top of the plush for the actual kernel, it actually used a Links into textureless kernel pole, which is actually pretty unique to use an entirely different plush on another one, and I actually think it works really well. As I'll turn the kernel pole sideways and adding eyes onto it just makes it look like a Cob Can. Well, overall, I think that's a pretty creative thing that he did that worked really well. And well, for the rest of the plush, it looks pretty good. All the wood and wheels on it looks pretty nice, as though the wheels are nicely shaped and they look pretty good. And the wood part of the plush, which is represented with brown felt material, it also looks pretty good, and it makes the plush hold up a little better. So yeah, it's definitely a really creative custom Cob Can plush that actually uses a completely different plush in it, which I really like, as well I actually think it makes the plush just look a lot better while using another one. Now next up we have a pretty simplistic plush, being the coffee bean. And well, there's not much to say about this plush, as it was very hard to mess up coffee beans, so this one looks pretty accurate, as well the face and everything looks pretty good, and the shape of it is really nice. And while the leaf on the plush also looks pretty good, and that's really all there is to say, as it was kind of hard to mess up coffee beans, so basically every single custom plush is good. So yeah, overall it looks pretty accurate. Now next up we have a Gatling pea, and well, this one uses the base of a Links into pea shooter. And well, there's not much that he did with this plush, as all he did is added some lines under the eyes and also added a helmet to it. So even though he only made really little changes, I still think that it counts as a custom, as it was still technically a custom plush, and well, I think that the details that he added look pretty good. And well, he also said that this was his first custom plush, which makes sense, as though it doesn't really look the best compared to the rest, but for what it is, it looks alright. Now next up we have a pumpkin. Well, this one's actually really unique, as though he actually made it so that it actually has the perfect amount of space to fit a plant. As well, the thing with most pumpkin plushes is that when you get them originally, they're way too big or way too small. So I'm actually really glad that he added some extra felt material to it to make it so that the plants inside of it fit perfectly. And well, for the rest of the plush, it's basically just a normal store-bought pumpkin plush that was just custom made into a Plants vs. Zombies one, which is most of the time what people do. So yeah, even though the inside of it is technically supposed to be an orange color, I still think that green looks pretty good, and either way, it's still pretty cool that he made it so the plants could basically fit perfectly inside of them. Now next up we have the Suncreamer. Well, the face on this one's really simplistic, as all it is just two eyes and a mouth, but that's all you really need, as the Suncreamer's face doesn't really have a lot of detail on it. And well, for the cap on this plush, it overall looks pretty good. All the dots and everything look accurate, and once again, the only thing that I would really change about it is just make it slightly wider. As up in the game, the cap is supposed to be coming off the sides of the head just a little bit, but besides that, I think that the rest of it looks pretty good. So even though it's a pretty simplistic looking plush, it still overall gets the job done. Now next up we have the Ghost Pepper, and well, this one actually looks a lot better than most of the others, as though this is actually his newest custom. And well, it definitely shows, as though this one actually looks really good, as though all the details on the face look nice with the eyes and the mouth, and the stem looks pretty good. As though the stem is just the perfect shape and everything, and all the leaves coming off the sides of the stem also look pretty good. The actual shape of the Ghost Pepper looks really accurate, as though it's the correct shape and everything, and the bottom of it is well cut out. And well, there's also a little blue bit coming out of the bottom of it, which is once again just accurate to the game, so this one actually basically has every single detail that's needed on a Ghost Pepper plush. So yeah, overall, this Ghost Pepper plush looks pretty good. And moving on to the next plush, we actually have a pretty obscure character, being Parashoot. As though this plant is really obscure, as though since it's from the game Plants vs. Zombies Heroes, I never really heard of it before. As though there's just so many different plants in Plants vs. Zombies Heroes that it's just hard to remember all of them. But yeah, overall, Parashoot's a really simplistic character, and basically every single detail on this plush is accurate to what it's supposed to look like. So yeah, overall, in terms of accuracy, it basically looks perfect. And well, next up we also have the Garlic Drone. And well, I think that the shape of this plush overall looks pretty good. It is a little too round, but besides that, I think that the rest of it looks fine. And well, the details on the face, like the shooter and the eye, look pretty good. And the actual stem on the top of the plush looks pretty good, as though it's the correct shape and everything, and it seems to be well made. And well, the only really bad thing about it is that it's just way too small. Now next up we have the zombies, starting off with the duck tube Conehead zombie. And well, all this plush is just a normal Links into duck tube zombie, but just with a custom cone added to it. And well, the only thing that I really don't like about the cone is that it's just a little too small, but besides that, I think that the rest of it looks pretty good as it was nicely shaped and also seems to be well stuffed. Now next up we have the ladder zombie, and well, this zombie uses the base Linkson 2 zombie design. And well, he added all the correct details to the face, being the pencil and also the mustache. I think that both details look pretty good, especially with the pencil. And well, all the clothes on this plush also look pretty good, and he also added the hammer to the side of the plush, which is a pretty nice detail that he did a good job on. And well, the red shirt also looks pretty good, and it just uses the normal zombie shorts, so overall I do have to say that he did a pretty good job with this custom plush. And well, he also made a ladder for this plush out of cardboard, which looks pretty good. So yeah, overall, I think that this ladder zombie plush is really nice as well, but has all the correct details to it, including his own custom ladder. Now next up we have the Bungee zombie, and he uses the exact same base zombie design, and all the clothes look pretty good. As well, he made custom pants on it, and same thing with the shirt, and well, the shirt looks very similar to the ladder zombie, except it just has some different details on it, like the left sleeve being different. He also added pants to it, which looks pretty good. And well, that's all you really need for a Bungee zombie, as well, he doesn't really have a lot of details besides this unique clothes, which he did a great job on. Now next up we have the balloon zombie plush, and well, this one uses the exact same base zombie, and the hat on the top of the head looks pretty good. As well, it has all the correct colors and everything, and the little spinny thing on the top of the hat also looks pretty good, and the actual shape of the hat also looks pretty good, so it's overall just a nice looking part of the plush. The actual balloon on this plush is just a single piece of felt material with a drawn on face, but it still looks pretty nice. And well, the custom shirt on this plush also looks pretty good, and it just uses the normal basic zombie shorts on it. So yeah, overall, I think he did a really good job with this plush with making the balloon and also making the hat on it. The only really thing I would change about this plush is making the balloon actually 3D instead of just being one single piece of felt material, and actually making it circular and adding stuffing to it, but besides that, every single detail on this plush looks really nice. Now next up we have the foot soldier zombie, and well, all the clothes that he added onto this plush look pretty good. As well, he took the clothing from another plush, and well, it actually fits really well on a foot soldier, and the thing on the back of it also looks really nice. As well, it's overall pretty nicely shaped and everything, and he also made a custom gun for it. So yeah, basically every single detail on this plush looks pretty good, including the rocket launcher on the back of it, and also the gun that's completely separate from the plush, as well, it's not actually attached to the plush, and it's just a separate piece. But yeah, overall, with all the details on this plush, I think he did a pretty good job with them. And then next up we have a flag zombie, and well, all this plush is just a normal beach flag zombie, except he changed the clothes on it to make it a normal basic zombie. And well, he also added a custom flag to it just to make it look a bit more accurate, so overall, this is a pretty nice looking plush, and it actually fits in pretty well with the rest of the normal basic zombies in the first world. Now next up we have the disco zombie, and well, this one's actually based off of the original disco zombie design. And well, all this is just a Linkson 2 guitar zombie, except they just took apart the clothes and everything and made him have his own unique clothes, which actually look really good. And well, the outfit overall looks pretty good with the clothes and everything, as though they're nicely shaped and they really fit well with the plush. And well, the only thing that I don't really like about it is the messed up eyes, as though I never really liked the eyes on the Linkson 2 guitar zombie, but that's not really his fault, as though this is really the only design of guitar zombie that's common, and basically you wouldn't want to destroy a rare plush to make a custom. So for the actual clothes and everything, it looks pretty good. Now next up we actually have his original Bungee zombie before the newer one that we already saw. And well, this one overall just looks really strange, as though instead of using a base zombie design, he actually fully made the custom plush. Well, in my opinion, he just looks really weird, as though he's very weirdly shaped. So yeah, because of the shape of him, I'm actually really glad that he remade the plush with a Linkson 2 zombie, as though the shape of it overall looks a lot better. So yeah, overall, the newer Bungee zombie that he has is a lot better than this older one. Now next up we have the engineer zombie, and well, everything on this plush actually looks really good. As well, the hat in my opinion looks pretty good, as well, it's well shaped and everything, and the clothes also look really nice. As well, I like how he extended the shorts on this plush and actually made them fully pants on one side, which overall looks pretty good, and I like how he removed one shoe on it just to make it look more unique. And while the orange shirt on this plush also looks pretty good, and while it also has a few accessories to it like a jackhammer. And well, he also made the engineer's gun, so both of these details are separate from the plushes, or they're not actually attached to it, but they still look really good. And the actual normal plush by itself, with none of the extra details, also looks pretty good. And while under the actual orange shirt, there's also a yellow shirt just to give it a bit more detail and make him look more accurate. Now next up we have the Pogo zombie, and well, at least in my opinion, I think this is one of the better custom zombie plushes. As well, for the details on the face, I really like how he made the glasses, and the mohawk on it also looks pretty good. As well, it's nicely shaped and everything, and even though it's a pretty simplistic detail, it still makes the plush look a lot more unique. And while he also added the goatee onto the plush, there's just another detail that makes the face look a lot better, and while the actual clothes on this plush also look great. As well, I really like how he made the pants as well. The pants are actually a lighter blue color, which just gives it a bit more detail, and the actual shirt also looks pretty good. So yeah, basically every single detail on this plush is really good in my opinion, besides the fact that he's green, but besides that, I think that every single other detail is really good. Now next up we have a Raincoat zombie, and well, this actually used the base design of the Gargantuar. And well, I think that basically every single detail that he added onto this plush looks pretty good, as well he made the red shoes and also added a raincoat to it. And while I actually really like the rain suit that he used on this plush as well, it actually fits the plush perfectly and it looks great. And while the red shoes also look pretty nice, so overall it's a pretty nice looking custom plush in general. Now next up we have a Buckethead zombie, and well, this is definitely his most simplistic custom plush out there, as well, literally all it is just a bucket on top of a normal Link's and basic zombie. So yeah, overall it's a very simplistic custom plush, but at least it gets the job done, as well. The Buckethead zombie is a very simplistic character, and the only thing that I would really recommend adding is the red paint on the helmet. Now next up we actually have a Brickhead zombie, which is a pretty unique zombie to make, and well, this plush actually used a really weird base as well as a cowboy zombie with normal basic zombie clothes. As well, he basically just took a cowboy zombie, which is why the shoes look pretty weird, and basically just replaced it with normal basic zombie clothes and made a Brickhead for it. And while I think that the Brickhead overall looks pretty good, and it fits well around the zombie's head, and it overall looks pretty nice. And well, for the rest of the plush, it's basically just normal basic zombie clothes, and overall looks pretty good. Now moving on to the next custom plush, we have a Buckethead duck tube zombie. And well, once again, this is just a very simplistic plush, as well, literally all he did is add a bucket to a normal duck tube zombie, and well, but overall looks fine. The only really downside to it is that he said he needs a new bucket, as well, the bucket that he's currently using doesn't really fully fit on the head. And well, these next two things aren't technically plushes, but he also made a Zomboni for the Zomboni driver, and he also made a bobsled for the bobsled team. And well, even though they're not technically plushes, they still go with other Plants vs. Zombies plushes, so I'm still counting them as a little bit of the video. But yeah, those are all the custom plushes. Comment down below which of these custom plushes is your favorite. And yeah, make sure to go subscribe to CJ Gaming, as well. He's the one that created all of these plushes. And yeah, hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, then please like and subscribe. And yeah, have a great day.